We don't want anything that looks like colonialism. We want to be one thing with our sisters in Tanzania, in Nigeria, in Egypt, in DRC, in Sudan, in South Sudan, everywhere else in Africa. We don't want passport, we don't want visa, we must move free of charge.
Africa is no longer waiting for permission. Namibia, Zambia, and Botswana have just erased their colonial borders, creating a borderless Africa alliance. Families are walking freely, traders are crossing without paperwork, and cultures divided for over a century are reconnecting. But while Africa celebrates, the West is panicking. Why is a free Africa seen as a threat to global powers? Let's dive in. You see, the announcement came quietly, but its impact thundered worldwide. From Windhoek to Lusaka to Gaborone, leaders confirmed what many thought impossible, a formal erasure of colonial-era borders. Border posts that once demanded endless papers, bribes, and hours of waiting are now being bypassed with ease. Families walk freely, traders roll across checkpoints, and students travel with dignity. Witnesses described the atmosphere as electric, like history itself was shifting. Across African media, the celebration was overwhelming. Headlines declared, "Colonial borders fall in southern Africa." Social media lit up with videos of people crying tears of joy as they crossed freely. In Botswana, students danced in the streets chanting unity songs. But in Washington and European capitals, the mood was different. Within hours, the U.S. State Department released cautious warnings, while envoys boarded overnight flights. The mission? Slow this down. Why such desperation? Because Namibia controls some of the world's largest uranium reserves, Zambia has the copper and cobalt needed for electric cars and electronics, and Botswana dominates the diamond trade. Together, under one alliance, these nations suddenly hold bargaining power that terrifies global powers. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. To understand why this matters, we must revisit the infamous Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. Europeans divided Africa with rulers and pens, slicing through kingdoms, families, and trade routes. Borders weren't drawn for Africans, they were weapons of division. Overnight, neighbors became foreigners, and entire nations were split. Even after independence, the West insisted these fake borders remain intact, ensuring Africa stayed divided, weak, and dependent. These lines were not just on paper, they became chains. Chains that strangled intra-African trade. Chains that forced economies to look outward instead of inward. Chains that made African unity seem dangerous. Until now. This alliance is more than a political act. It is a cultural rebirth. Economically, barriers are collapsing. Copper trucks once delayed for days now cross seamlessly, saving time and money. Farmers can now sell beef, grain, and goods to neighbors without border bureaucracy eating up their profits. Manufacturers gain new regional markets. Infrastructure projects, roads, railways, energy grids, suddenly make sense on a regional scale. Culturally, the impact may be even greater. Colonial maps divided identities. Cousins were forced to present passports to visit each other. Artists, traders, and students were treated as strangers in their own continent. Now, festivals, trade fairs, and universities are opening up. A cultural renaissance is unfolding, reconnecting traditions silenced for over a century. So why does this terrify Washington and Europe? It's not about stability. It's about control. For decades, Western corporations thrived by keeping African nations isolated, negotiating separately, and staying vulnerable. A united bloc of nations with free movement, pooled resources, and bargaining power flips the game. Suddenly, Africa can demand fair prices, choose partners freely, and say no to exploitative deals. U.S. influence through aid, loans, and military bases also weakens when Africans prove they can secure themselves by standing together. For the West, a borderless Africa isn't just inconvenient, it's revolutionary. The question now is, what next? Could this alliance inspire a domino effect across Africa? Zimbabwe, Angola, and even South Africa are already watching closely. If 3 nations can erase Berlin's borders, why not 10? Why not 50? This is more than policy, it's a blueprint for a continent free from colonial maps. Africa is no longer asking for permission. The Borderless Africa Alliance proves that unity is not a dream, it's a decision. But will more African countries join? Will the West allow Africa to rise on its own terms? Or is this just the beginning of a new chapter in the struggle for independence? What do you think? Should Africa expand the Borderless Alliance? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's discuss.